Hello, Thunder fans. Welcome again to our MIAA Tournament preview here this morning at the MTI Center. Geoff Chiles, joined by Trine women's basketball coach Ryan Gould. Here we are, Coach, the postseason. You split the MIAA regular season championship. First off, congratulations on the championship.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for that.
Well, you're not playing at the MTI Center, unfortunately, in the postseason. That was decided by a coin flip, but you're playing Albion at Hope this Friday night. This year, this team had a lot of strengths, predicted to be one of the top teams in the MIAA. You knew a lot of what this team could accomplish, I'm sure, going in. What did you learn that you weren't quite sure of as we entered the season?
Well, I think we went into the season knowing, we have a couple of the best two players in the league, in Brandy and Haley. But I think we learned this year that our depth was something that was going to be a huge strength. We played some games without Haley at the beginning of the season. We've played some games here late without Camille. We've had a couple other kids miss games here and there for injuries. We've always had someone step up and fill that void, and so that's been very, very encouraging to us as coaches.
Haley Martin has been that dominant force in the paint for you all year, rebounding, putting up missed shots, and then of course Brandy Dawson, MIAA Player of the Year last year, can drive the ball inside and a competent shooter for you on the wing. If you had to think about, first off, Haley from that 1-2 punch, she seems to have grown her game and really asserted herself even more on the inside than maybe she did last year. How has she grown as a player individually?
Well, I think she's grown as a leader. She's more willing to talk. She's a little more vocal on the floor, and has the confidence to do those type of things. I think she's battled through a lot of injuries, which test your mental toughness. So I think she's grown the most in those areas, is just non-basketball areas, just getting tougher mentally and being a leader for us. And the last month here, she's been outstanding. And
as far as Brandy Dawson, again, as we mentioned, reigning MIAA Player of the Year, right up there in the team, in the conference, best field goal percentage in the conference this year. And I guess assess her growth from her sophomore year now to her junior year.
Well, Brandy's grown each year that she's been here, each of the three defensively. She's gotten better and better, and that's made our team defense better. Offensively, she's just become more efficient. She's probably one of the 3 or 4 most efficient players in the country, shooting 67% from the field almost in conference play, and just someone who brings it every game. She's just someone we can count on to make shots, and just accepting that role of being the go-to player is something that she's accepted this year.
Well, you and Hope both winning the MIAA championship, sharing the championship, winning the championship by a mile. How did the league shake out beyond the two of you? Was it where you kind of expected it to be? Was it a little bit, not going to say easier, but was it not as challenging as you expected? How did everything turn out with the MIAA?
Well, I think the one thing you can say about our conference is the 4 teams who made the tournament really separated themselves this year. There's a gap of 5 games, I think, between 4th place and 5th place this year. There's a gap of 4 games between 1st place and 3rd place. So I think that you go into a season hoping that the best 4 teams make it, and I think that that's something that clearly happened. Some of the teams at the bottom have improved and gotten better. St. Mary's comes to mind. Olivet comes to mind. Those teams have improved. And I would expect that trend to continue into next year. And then the other teams are just teams that always are going to play hard. Kalamazoo plays hard for 40 minutes, things like that. So you're definitely tested on a night-to-night basis. One of the things I'm proudest of our group is, we've gone 2 straight seasons, and I don't think we've dropped a game that we shouldn't have. And that takes a lot of mental toughness and a lot of focus and things like that. And to get through conference play 15-1 2 years in a row says a lot about their determination as a group.
Yeah, to repeat as MIAA champs, the Thunder back-to-back MIAA champs, the first time for you in university history. Your coaching staff, and you've been here now, this is your 7th year at Trine. How have you adjusted your coaching style based on the roster you've had, and how have things that plans that you've put into motion as far as offensive sets or play calls or things you would like to achieve, how have those things changed for you, and what was something that you had planned that came to fruition this year?
Well, we talked 4 years ago, Andy Rang and I, we've been here together the full 4 years, Craig Taylor as well. We talked a lot at that point 4 years ago about needing to get bigger. needing to get more physical. So defensively, we could make an impact. And I think each year we've improved in that area as a defensive team. I think right now we sit at second in the nation in points per game allowed, and to see that growth amongst the group has been really fulfilling for us as a coaching staff. We've been able to recruit kids that fit that same mindset. Once we get the kids here, they have to own it and they have to run the team. It's
they have to put in the work.
Yeah, it's their team. It's a group that comes to practice every day willing and ready to work, and very committed to getting better.
Well, speaking of getting better, this defense, you touched on it, second in the nation in defensive scoring efficiency this year. That is a remarkable stat no matter what level of basketball you're at. What is it about the defense that has made them so special?
Well, there's a couple things. One, they prepare. Coach Rang, Coach Taylor do an amazing job, Rob Hoffman as well, of preparing scouting information for our players and drawing up sets and walking kids through film and things like that. So our preparation level is very high, and then the players' buy-in is extremely high. They know the work it's going to take on a possession-by-possession basis to get stops, and they take tremendous pride in their defense. They go into every game talking about holding teams in the 40s. That's their goal every game, and we've done that probably 17 out of our 25 games. So they really own the defensive end of the floor, and they take a lot of pride in that as players.
Well, it's shown on the court, it's shown for me broadcasting this team this year, the defensive changes and the way they've approached each game. All the conversation is naturally on your team going to be about Haley Martin as a senior, going to be about Brandy Dawson. But in terms of Cassidy Williams, in terms of Jada Benth, all those players coming off the bench and that you and I have discussed pregame so many times, what have they shown individually and then as a group that has made them so versatile coming off the bench for you?
Well, there's a couple things. Look, Cassidy is someone who brings it every day. She's played every day. She hasn't missed a practice. She hasn't missed a game. She's someone that is truly reliable, someone who we know going in that's going to show up every day with the right mindset. Katie Steers is another one defensively who can change the flow of the game. She's had to switch positions here late in the season after Camille went down with an injury, and she's never complained. She just said, fine, I'll shift over to a different position. It's just that mindset of being willing to do whatever needs to be done to help the team. You know, Jade is another example, someone who didn't have a huge role last year, who worked really hard this offseason and has made a tremendous impact this season. Kayla Freeman, same thing. And the list goes on and on. Montana Martin's come off the bench and led us in scoring 2 out of the last 3 games. So it's a very deep roster as far as those type of things go, and just a lot of girls who take pride in the way that they play.
Looking ahead to this Friday night with your game, 5:30 against Albion at Hope College. Trine swept Albion this year. You swept the season series, both games, but the game here at MTI was a lot closer than the one on the road. But Albion, offensively, they might be one of the better challenges you're going to face defensively as a club this year. Second best offense in the league, 16.1 assists per game. They can really whip the ball around the outside and challenge you to move well.
Yes, and they shoot the ball extremely well from the perimeter. Not a lot of teams in the league do that. So they present a different set of challenges. They've got girls with Wishmeyer and Emily Burness. And
Wishmeyer, I believe, top 3-point shooter?
Yes, absolutely. Maya Gillum, those girls can really stroke it from the 3-point line. You know, Brittany Lutz is great off of the dribble. You know, they have a freshman post player, Rain Hinton, who was the player of the week in the conference the last week of the year, who's gotten better each week. So offensively, they are a team that can give us as many problems as anyone that we face. So they definitely are a team that has our full attention.
Well, the last time you played, that was really a seesaw type of game, back and forth. There were a lot of threes made in that game. But we saw Montana Martin, again, one of those unsung players that we talked about, 6 of 8 from the free throw line, career high 18 points. Was she more ready to be in that position, or how do you put those players in the position to be ready and on a big stage like this weekend?
Well, Montana is just someone who loves to play basketball. She's dealt with injuries all year. She practices once a week, maybe twice a week, because we're trying to manage an injury, but she's someone who just lives and breathes basketball, and so she's always, chomping at the bit to get into a game, and she's someone who we know if she gets hot from the outside can really carry the team on a given day. And so for her to come in and have that kind of success was great to see, and she's built on that the couple games since then. So expecting big things from her coming up in the tournament and into the national tournament as well.
Albion, also a team that offensively, 16 rebounds a game, 15 or 16 on the glass. They can really get to work on the glass, which could present a problem, although you guys have been equally strong on the defensive glass. I guess, how do you see this game playing out, and do you think your team defensively will be prepared and ready enough to shut down this Albion attack?
Well, I think the one thing that's interesting about tournament play is you're seeing someone for the third time. They know what we do, we know what they do, so it's which teams can make that adjustment here in this bye week, getting ready for the tournament. I think that we have a good handle on the problems that they present. Once the ball's tipped, you got to get out there and execute on the floor. With them, they shoot the ball so well, the times they miss, we can't allow them to get second and third chances, because eventually they're going to knock one in. So I think that was the key to the last game. I think we held them to 8 offensive rebounds, and that allowed us to get some separation in the second half.
Coach, thanks for joining us this morning. Coach Ryan Gould of your Trine Women's Basketball Thunder. We had him here this morning, and you can follow the team all season long right here on the Trine Broadcasting Network.